Well, I wish I could give you the tea, but mine's just a little bit tart, and that's why it's called Leah's Lemonade. And I'm really excited to have my guests today at the Lemonade Stand, Suzette Samuel and Cora Christian. We are here to talk about all of the behind the scenes, the nitty gritty of cosmetic surgeries and non-invasive surgeries. And I'm really excited to talk to both of you ladies because you guys have firsthand experiences to both. So welcome and thank you for joining me.
Thank you for
Thank you for having me.
Yes, absolutely. So I want to start with you, Suzette. Okay, this was really interesting. We never hear about the stories that go wrong, right? We see the bodies,
Yeah.
we see the likes, we see how, the body looks and how bomb, everybody feels about it, but we do not hear the stories about the stories going wrong. And you've had a firsthand near-death experience. So I want the Lemonade Stand to know about that because we don't hear a lot of people talking about that.
Right. So in 2014, back when the silicone injection era really, started booming with the Melissa Fords and the Buffy the Bodies, before it was really a trend now, I had got illegal injections done. I did a couple of sessions because, of course, you're not going to get the desired results in one session. You have to break it down into a couple of sessions. I did about maybe 6. And on my 7th session, I got sick. And in the process of me getting sick, a couple of days later, I went into a coma. So that was really the start of my problems. I did not know that it would be an ongoing issue that I will be battling years later. When I say years later, I mean we're in 2021 and my complications had heightened. So throughout the years, I was just having unexplained sicknesses with my body, just weird things going on. Lab results, blood work, everything, physicals, everything is coming back completely normal. So after a while, I started to just tell myself, okay, this is just something I'm going to have to live with because it was confirmed that I was okay.
Yeah.
2017, that's when things got a little alarming health-wise, but I still did not really base it, from my injections. I honestly thought that, once I went in a coma, I pretty much had to see a lung specialist to learn how to breathe on my own. I was in ICU for a little while. So I really thought that was the last time that I would have to deal with that type of issues. I felt like they sterilized my insides or whatever they did.
Right.
So where I wouldn't be sick anymore, I would be okay. 2017, I just woke up and couldn't walk. They told me that I would never walk again if I didn't undergo knee surgery. I went to physical therapy for 6 months. Again, nobody is really understanding like where all these issues are coming from. I was like, I'm young. I'm not gonna do no surgery on my knee. And I pretty much found me a rehabilitation trainer that that was experienced with training like sports people that have injuries and stuff like that. And he pretty much helped me get my knee back together. But it wasn't 100% to where like I was able to squat or even get real low. I had certain restrictions, but I was able to walk.
Right.
And then really just constant headaches. Just, little random weird things that we as people, we don't really pay attention to. And then what happened was I was actually on set with Black Ink Crew when I started filming with them, and I spoke to Young Bae because Young Bae had a situation, and I asked her, I said, what made you remove your breast implants? Because she had, she has her own story with the whole surgical thing, and she just was telling me everything that she went through, and she was like, she was sick for 5 years, and I'm like, 5 years? Like, how do you be sick for 5 years? And once she started telling me her symptoms, it was like I'm sitting there like this, like,
right.
Wow, a lot of those things are the same things that I'm going through or went through throughout the years. And now that, like, what made it alarming was earlier this year, every morning I got out of bed, my feet would be swollen and it would be so painful that I couldn't walk, for a couple of minutes. But it was never an issue where it was like an all day thing. For whatever reason, it was just when I woke up, that's just what it was. I would be in pain for 5 to 10 minutes and then it'll just go away. So after talking to her, it was like, okay, because I have implants also. So now it was just a matter of what's going on. I had a consultation scheduled for my teeth, I was in Colombia in May. So right after our conversation, I went to Colombia, got my teeth done. And I actually was paired with a really good doctor out there that did the silicone injections removal. So I pretty much just pulled up on her and told her my story. And she, she did me a consultation. I had just got a fresh tattoo, so I couldn't undergo an MRI right away. Out there, you got to wait 3 months. I was like, you know what? I'm going to get back to America. I'm going to do my MRIs, because after meeting with her, she was able to pretty much point out a lot of things with my body physically. And it was like, oh my God, like I need to take this out of my body ASAP. And the earliest appointment I was able to get was July. So immediately I started prepping my body. I started taking iron and doing just the regular IVs to get my body ready. And then I even came back to Colombia a week before my surgery, because they have like a real extensive package to where they're able to prep your body. And I just had to change my whole lifestyle. I had to stop smoking hookah. I had to stop drinking. I had to eat clean. And, it was very informative, because a lot of times we suffer in silence. And that's what I was doing. I was suffering in silence, not because I didn't want anybody to know my story. I'm real transparent. Even throughout the years, my butt had gotten way bigger than what it was. But, it's still a muscle. So I stayed in the gym. It grew. Quarantine, we all blew up. So that contributed to it getting even bigger. And it was just a horrible experience, health-wise, and pretty much once I came back from Colombia, I underwent an MRI, and I was just getting different MRIs on my body. I found out I have a Baker's cyst in my knee that's filled with fluid, so I have to get that drained. I found out that my right implant is split, so I had to get those taken out and or replaced. I found out that I have an cyst on my ovaries. My legs and my ankles are filled with fluid. So it's just a lot of things. Like even after the surgery, now I have to do other things to pretty much get, the rest of my body together. So that's.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that I want to focus on from what you said is like the appearance of health, right? Because I think a lot of people assume because you're young, you look fit, you look good, that your insides are feeling good. And the reality is that a lot of times these cosmetic surgeries do alter the state of your body. So Cora, I want to tap into you, because you were actually at one point participating in, the procedures of invasive surgery. So you've seen the damage, you've seen the not so good results, you've seen good results. So tell me about your time doing that, and then what about that made you go, there has to be another way?
Actually physically being in the surgery room, just seeing some things. I won't go into too much just because of HIPAA and different things like that, but just physically being there and, seeing the women before they're getting put under the anesthesia. And you have some that are just blood pressures are high, and it's all because they're nervous and they're scared. And then you have the doctor that's there, when you wake up, everything is you're going to be snatched. Like that is what they're saying. You're going to be snatched. So, and then in like 2 seconds later, they're out and they're waking up. And some of them are, like you said, some of them are snatched. Some of them are looking amazing. And then some are not happy with their results. Like they wake up, and if they can, like you have women that have surgery that can wake up and look at themselves and say, this is not it. This is not what I paid my money for. We've had girls who've had surgery, when they come back for their post-op the next day, they're like, this is not what I wanted. Like, I need to go back under the knife. You have to wait at least 6 months to even go back under. You still have to wait at least 6 to 12 months for your actual results to just show, but they're ready to go back when they come, and their stomach is not as flat as they wanted it. Their butt is not, as plump as they wanted it. So I've seen a lot. And she's right. On the outside, you do look like you're okay, but your body is still healing on the inside. You still have fluid everywhere. You also have to make sure you're wearing your compression socks so you won't get those blood clots and different things like that. And a lot of times we don't do that. A lot of times I see girls, they're They get the surgery, maybe a week later they're out and about, ready to show it off. I'm like, give yourself time to heal. It's gonna be plenty enough time for you to show off, what you paid for. So it's a lot of things that play a role in that. So I got out of that and was like, it had to be another way to do things. And we actually started doing non-invasive things when I was working at that clinic. And I said, I got to do this myself because I want to give women the truth. I want to let you know this works. This does not work. This works if you're this size. This does not work if you're not this size. Like a lot of times we don't be honest. Like you should lose if your BMI is too high, you definitely should lose a couple pounds before you go into surgery. But you have doctors now who are doing surgeries if your BMI is high and you're coming out of surgery not getting the results you want because of those reasons. So you just really have to do your research. So I got into, we still do lymphatic massage is definitely for the women who have had surgery. And manual lymphatic drainage, we do it all the time. But I got into the non-invasive side because it works as well. I tell people all the time, before you go under the knife, try the ice. Try it first. But also sometimes when you have your mind made up that you're gonna go under the knife, you're going. Especially if you paid your money or you want to look that way right now. You're going under the knife. And I tell them then just do your research. And then when you get done, still come see me because I'll be available for you.
Absolutely. Cora, I did have a question though, because, now I'm starting to see a lot of doctors really say that, BBLs are not safe. One of the highest mortality rates for cosmetic surgery. So, from your experience working in those environments, what about the procedure is so dangerous for women or for anybody really? But why is it so dangerous? What about it?
You got to think about it. When they're injecting that fat back there, they can't see where it's going. You literally have someone back there just going at it, just putting it there. And it is a muscle. So if you go under the muscle, that can cause death. It's supposed to go on top of the muscle. So with that being said, if I'm back there, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just putting it there and hoping for the best. Then you have some doctors that do still put it under the muscle. Like the girls who can sit after surgery, some of those doctors put it under there, and the ones who cannot sit, then it's on top. So you really have to just do your research. I see that they have something now, it's like an ultrasound that can kind of guide them when they're going and putting it there. So I think they're saying that that's a little bit safer now because they can kind of see where it's going, but you still have to realize that's a major surgery. When someone is taking that and going in and just poking, they can hit a vein or artery, like anything there, and you don't know until after sometimes. A lot of times you want to blame the doctor, but then those girls, they go in there with these stories, and let's just say I remember when me and Suzette was on the last live talking, and she was saying how the lady was doing the hookah and didn't say anything. So you're going in there after you've got your labs done and they're saying everything's fine, but the night before they told you don't eat or drink anything, and you're out smoking nicotine, you're out drinking, and you go in and now something happens and you want to blame the doctor, but it's like, I told you didn't do this.
And you're supposed to stop the hookah 2 months before surgery.
All of that.
And you're supposed to stop the liquor at least 30 days before surgery. So, which is what, to piggyback on what she was saying, doctors don't give you the truth, which is true because, even my doctor that did my surgery didn't tell me the truth. She told me in 3 weeks I was going to be good to go because that was my main concern. So when a doctor sees that a potential patient has certain concerns that could prevent them from getting the surgery, they'll try to make that seem like, okay, no, everything is going to be okay. Because they just recently did that to my friend. I'm about to be 3 months post-op. So I got the silicone taken out, but I still have to do the reconstructive and use my fat to put it back. So I have to, do the massages for a minimum of 3 months. The doctor told her she didn't have to do that. And I had to tell my friend, like, listen, you've never had surgery before. Right. Do not listen to that doctor because you're going to be upset. You have to get those massages when you're done. You're going to be in pain. You're going to get fibrosis. You're not going to heal properly. You're going to be upset about your shape. There's so much that goes into that. And even with my doctor, it was like, okay, she told me in 3 weeks I was going to be good. I got on a plane prematurely with her direction. And when I got on the plane, my health took a turn for the worse, you know? And it was like when I contacted her again, it was more so, that's your fault. Like she was real standoff about it, you know? And it was upsetting because the reason why I gravitated towards her was her caring nature. And, you know, because I did my research. I didn't just hop on the first doctor, you know, like I've contacted some of her past patients. I've looked at her work. A lot of these doctors, you need several rounds. She did a lot of her patients within the first round, didn't have to come back. So these were all things I was factoring because I have a family, I have children, I have businesses. So I need to prepare myself on, okay, I'm going to go under the knife today. I need to have 3 months of my bills set to the side so I'm not rushing back to work. And that's one of the main things these girls don't do. They don't have the aftercare costs. They didn't prep for, dang, I'm going to be out of work for 2-3 months, you know? And like she said, they rush back. And even with me, like I'm so used to being independent and on the go. I think a month and a half, I went outside and I came back home and my body was like, no,
ma'am,
right now. But I felt like I was okay because when you're laying around all day and you're really not doing nothing, it's like, okay, I think I could do this, but we don't listen to our bodies. And even, you know, with the silicone injections, something else that she mentioned was injecting it the wrong way. And that was my situation. My injector injected me the wrong way. In fact, when she injected me, I got sick right away. I just didn't know what that was from. So as soon as she injected me, I was coughing. And that's because she had hit my vein and it caused the silicone to travel from my butt to my lung area. And that's how I slipped into a coma because my lung capacity was filled with blood to the point where sitting up, I couldn't breathe. So when I laid down, because I was only able to lay down and breathe, once I laid down, if my daughter had not called my mom, who called the EMS, who came and got me, I would have died. Because as soon as I got to the hospital, I went into a coma. And I didn't even know that it was silicone because that's not what I consented to when I was getting these injections. I was consented to hydrogel. Again, I'm a person, I do my research. Hydrogel is rubber base. So it's rare that if it's pure hydrogel that your body is going to have these reactions. So what happened, the lady that was injecting me posed as a nurse, you know, had her certificates and everything on her wall.
So wait, talking about you went through like a legit place to get this done. This was not
no. It wasn't legit. So silicone injections is not the only thing legit is the BBLs.
Okay.
The silicone injections, that's considered black market, is because the thing is you don't really know what they're injecting in you. They can say one thing. My doctor went as far as having something labeled hydrogel. Like I watched her, you know, crack the seal and everything. And again, I only found out it was silicone because when I went to the emergency room and I woke up from my coma, I had traces of silicone in my bloodstream.
Yikes.
That's how I knew, you know, I'm just like, that's not what I consented to, you know? And then come to find out, she killed the girl before my last session and after me. And she ended up having to go on the run because the health department got involved. She wasn't really a nurse. You know, it was a lot behind that. But, you know, even doing your research, sometimes you got to be careful because not for nothing, that last session, it was just off. Like usually when I arrive, I'm able to go straight downstairs. I had to wait a half an hour. You know, we had a real good rapport because again, I was just entering the urban industry. So I was bringing her a lot of girls, a lot of strippers, a lot of bartenders, a lot of models. And that's why I got so many sessions because I was getting them for free. So she had a little referral program. Even when you think you done, you like, you know, I just bought her 3 girls. That's a free session. Why not?
Right.
That last session, it was just everything was off. She wasn't as talkative, you know. It was raining that day. She was crying. Usually her phone is ringing off the hook when I'm there. Her phone was not ringing. So it was a lot of things that I should have paid attention to prior to letting her inject me, but that I didn't because, again, I just entered the urban industry. I'm getting booked out my ass because of my new appearance. And it was just, this is what I need to do to continue feeding my kids, you know, as a single mother at the time, you know. So I think is awareness because you could do all the research and like even with me, I did, my present doctor, I did so much research, but it still was gray areas because I still got sick. I still caught a bad infection. You know, she still didn't educate me on the aftercare process. So you could never really be too comfortable. So it's just certain things with surgery, you have to understand the risk involved. And when things happen, you just have to chuck it to the surgery game. Yeah. Women die giving birth. And that's what we're put here to do. Right. You know what I mean? So it's just, they told us in Colombia, when you book your appointment, you know, make sure your family has at least 10,000 in case you die and they have to fly your body back. Because that's things they don't prepare for too. If you die out there, it's going to cost you $8,000 to fly your body back to America for your family to have a funeral or whatever it is they're trying to do. You know, so
okay, let's discuss this. I know multiple people who have went outside of the country for these surgeries, and American doctors will tell you, you know, to your point, it's all the risk, right? No matter who does it, right. It could be the best well-known surgeon in the world. It could be somebody in the alley pumping people with stuff. At the end of the day, there is a risk no matter what when it comes to invasive surgeries. Yeah. However, for me personally, when I hear people discuss going out of the country to get these procedures done, it don't sit right in my spirit. I ain't gonna hold you. I get a little nervous because their regulations are not the same. Right. So, you know, as somebody who has obviously had multiple procedures out of the country, what do you say to women? Because as you just said,
that was my only procedure out the country. Okay, so I would not go out the country to get lipo, to get the regular surgeries, because you know America specializes in that. But you have to understand, removing silicone injections, that's something that, you know, girls just really started coming out about. Mm-hmm. So a lot of these doctors are not experienced in that. Mm-hmm. And just in surgery in general, like I wouldn't go to a doctor who specializes in breast augmentation to do my lipo. Right. I wouldn't go to a doctor who specializes in BBLs to do a tummy tuck. Right, so right. You have to know, you know, what a doctor's specialty is, and just off of my research, just off of me doing, because I've done consultations with more than one doctor for this procedure, and majority of the doctors in America want to lipo it out. Yep. You cannot lipo silicone injections out. You have to get cut open, and it has to be physically taken out of you, and you have to, you know, use your own fat to pretty much reconstruct you, because you're going to be an open mess.
How long does that take?
15 hours.
No, how long does the procedure?
I was in surgery for 15 hours.
Oh my.
But that was only because, see, I don't know what it is out here, but I know out there there's an 8-hour max. Again, you know, I flew to Colombia a week before my surgery. I did ozone therapy. I cleaned my blood. Like I was probably the healthiest I've ever been in my life. So my doctor asked me, she said, if your vitals are good, I did 2 iron IVs. So my hemo was through the roof. I was good. And my doctor asked me, she said, you know, because she knew my circumstance. She knew my situation. Mm-hmm. I wanted to get as much done in one surgery without having to come back. You know, and she said, if your vitals are good, do you want me to keep going? And I told her, yeah. So that was something I consented to behind the scene. Like it wasn't on no paperwork or nothing like that. Because technically you can't be in surgery that long. Yeah. That's a long time. So I went under the knife at 7. You know, she told my family and everybody else I was going to be done at 3. So by 5, 6 o'clock, everybody's panicking like, oh my God, something happened to her. They're not just trying to tell us. You know, and I didn't come out of surgery till 10 o'clock. But again, that was just a connection that, you know, me and my doctor had. So where she got majority of it out and I don't have to go back. And then she also used, you know, I gained weight for the surgery, which I didn't have to do. So she was like, every couple of pounds, you add an hour and a half to your surgery. So that's something I didn't know either, you know, but I was not going to America to do that type of procedure because a lot of American doctors were not knowledgeable in the area, and I can tell just off conversation. You know, I can tell just off the terminology they're using. You know, and I'm gonna ask you, what instruments are you using? How long am I gonna be to sleep? What do I have to do to prep my body? This is not a BBL. This is not lipo. This is the removal. You know, you cut me the wrong way, I'm done. And I've spoken to a lot of popular girls that went through this also, and I even started following Kate Michelle's journey.
I was gonna say,
listen, her journey was so long because she started in America. She started in America and ended up having to go to Colombia anyway to fix herself. So I just personally, I felt more safe going to Columbia because there's a couple of doctors out there. You know, there's some you got to be careful for too. But my particular doctor, you know, based on my research, based on me finding girls that she did and hitting up the girls and, you know, stuff like that, it just made sense to go out there. And I had people trying to talk me out of it, but like me, I'm very spiritual. I pray over everything I do, and my spirit just told me, do not do it in America. I had girls that did it here and now can't afford the extra 15, 20 to go out there, and they're botched. And they're like, listen, we wish we was smart like you to go to Columbia. I still get inboxes to this day like, girl, where did you go? Because I did it 3 times and I'm still messed up. And I'm just like, you know, so like I said, it was a very stressful process, scary, but considering what I've watched other people go through, I've watched other journeys, I will count my blessings, you know, that I made it out alive, that I was able to come back to my family alive and healthy. And the things that I did go through, the bad aftercare, the infections and all of that, I just have to chuck that to the surgery game. Because again, there's risk involved with any surgery, and that's just how my body reacted, you know, based off of so that's one thing I didn't do. I was so knowledgeable to get to the table. I wasn't really knowledgeable what to do after I got off the table. And that's why, you know, I caught the infections and stuff like that, because my doctor didn't inform me properly what to do either. So a lot of times this experience has taught me, you know, we get so caught up in preparing for surgery and getting to the surgery, we're not really educated on, okay, what do we have to do after the surgery? It was certain things that I couldn't eat because it would cause me to swell and, you know, prolong my healing. It was even with the massages, you got to eat right. You got to be careful what you're drinking. You got to eat Jello. You got to eat a lot of soups and broth and certain things like that. So it was like a learning experience along the way, but I had the money to pay for a 24-hour nurse. So I was in Colombia for 30 days and I had a 24-hour nurse with me who cooked, who cleaned. But a lot of us don't know how to cook healthy. We think because we eating chicken breast, but it got a whole lot of sodium seasonings and stuff like that. It's like the simplest things will screw you up, you know? And I'm a type of person, I pay for convenience. That's not something I wanted to worry about after surgery. I just wanted to be in bed healing. I hired a 24-hour nurse who stayed with me the whole 30 days that I was in Colombia. I didn't have to cook. I didn't have to clean. All I had to do was get up, go to my appointments, go to, you know, get up, eat, go to the bathroom. And that was it. So that part I was prepared for. But even the infections and stuff that I caught, that could have been avoided had I been more prepared.
And they don't tell you, like Suzette was saying, some of the doctors, I know here, the women do not know anything about lymphatic massages. Like the doctors do not tell them. I think even one of my clients said that they told her she did not need it. And then she was still swollen, like she had never had surgery before. I'm looking at her like, you sure you had?
And that hurts.
So when we did do the massages and got her started, you know, with the treatment, and she started to come into her shape, she was like, oh my God. And she said she went to her doctor for a post-op, and this was like maybe 4 weeks later. I'm like, you're just going back, you know, 4 weeks later. And he was trying to take pictures of her like, oh my God, you look so good, blah, blah, blah. Now I'm looking, she said she was looking like, now, you know, you did not do this. I be at this place, you know, Beyond Beauty with Cora. No, you cannot take no pictures to be putting them on your website like you did something. But yeah, they don't tell you. And then sometimes, you know, you have to, their job is to do the surgery. Once the surgery is over, it's your job to, you know, get your massages, to wear your fajas, to make sure, especially if you get a BBL, to make sure you're feeding the fat, you're eating the right, you know, you're feeding it the right things like the avocado and different things like that. Because when you say feed the fat, you thinking you can just eat anything, you know, you're just eating. So you have to watch the sodium and salt. It'll blow you up. So they don't tell you that. And I've witnessed a lot of girls who have not been told, you know, you need to get this. I've witnessed a lot of girls who have been told you don't need it. A lot of girls who've been told you don't need to wear a faja after so many times. You could just put on a waist trainer. And I'm just like, okay, well, I'm going to let you know the correct thing to do. And then whatever you decide to do, because sometimes they do feel they're gonna listen to their doctor.
Mhm.
Some girls, like you could tell because it's a doctor, so they're like, oh,
Yeah.
you know, he or she may know what they're talking about. So
Yeah.
it's like, okay, well, you listen to them, and then I'll see you, you know, when you're complaining to me. And not your doctor, but you're complaining to me. Why am I looking like this? And I'm just saying, you might want to go talk to your doctor about it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think, you know what I think too, with this whole surgery trend, especially going through what I went through. Had I been getting like MRIs on a yearly basis and stuff like that, I wouldn't have gotten as sick, you know. So I think that when girls get surgery, it should be some type of, how you say it, not packaging, but I think we need more doctors, not surgeons, but more doctors that specialize in what our bodies should look and feel like after surgery. And I think at least once a year that's important, because even with breast augmentation, that surgery is completely safe. And even with my situation, I can't say that my implant flipped because of my silicone injections, because I've never gotten an MRI in my life. So it could have flipped right after I got it, you know, it could have flipped 5 years ago, 2 years ago, I don't know. But, you know, from when I found a doctor that's going to fix it, and he's good on that too. And he was like, oh, I get those all the time. That's a normal part of having breast implants. Because what happens is, anything foreign we put in our body, you know, you have some girls that when they get IUDs as a form of birth control, like me, I can't do an IUD because my body rejects everything.
Yep.
I get, you know, a lot of yeast infections. I just can't do it. So anything we put in our body, eventually our body is going to reject it. And it's the same thing from these surgery foreign substances, whether it's implant, whether it's liquid, whatever it is they're putting in you. And when you're supposed to change your implants every 10 years. It hasn't been 10 years for me yet. I got mine in 2015, but I need to change it. And again, I only know that because I got an MRI.
And that's good too, like you said about having the doctors like to kind of see what's going on. Like I know a doctor, because when you get your labs, they're only doing like blood work and like pretty much like a physical.
Right.
But I know it's one doctor here. He'll do some girls like that never had surgery before. Like you have, even though some women, you know, have had cesareans and stuff, you know, they've had surgeries and different things like that. But you got some women who has never had surgery before, and they're coming to him for these labs to go and get surgery. And he hooks them up and he gives them an x-ray to check out their heart. He's like, you've never had surgery before. You know, we need to see if your heart is even the right side, you know, so you can even go through this surgery. And I know here they were getting upset with him, saying that he was doing unnecessary, you know, labs. But at the end of the day, I'm like, yeah, you needed that. You never had like a knee surgery, anything. You've never had surgery, period. And you got to think about it. You have girls who are 18 and 19 that are getting surgery. So yeah, you need to let him do. I know you don't want to pay for that because that wasn't on your sheet of labs, but you're absolutely right. Instead of a plastic surgeon, you definitely need a family medicine doctor to just, you know, kind of take a look at you to see if everything is okay after the surgery, even before the surgery. And I'm glad he does that.
And that's important because a lot of girls that's dying on the table is from heart attacks.
Yep.
It's from not that they wasn't healthy, not that the doctor did anything wrong, but just in the middle of a procedure, they caught a heart attack. And that can come from smoking, drinking, you know, prior to your surgery. That can come from so many things. So it's like, if the doctor wants to do all these labs on you, that's actually a good doctor because he wants to cross his T's and dot his I's. He does not want you dying on his table. Because they're not going to say it ain't the doctor's fault. Is once you have a death, that's going to be tied to their name. You know what I'm saying?
So this is something I want to ask you, because I do think that, you know, there's a conversation to be had about the plastic surgery trend in general, because for me, it's always a hard fine line between like, I'm trying to better myself or I have a desired look that I want to have, and then I'm doing it for social media likes and mental health. Because I feel like that line is so fine, right? Because I do think that the better you feel about yourself, the better your mental health can be. But Cora, the example you gave of the young lady who just got off the table saying, I need to go back under the knife. To me, when I hear that, Like, you know, that's a mental illness because or not even an illness, but mentally it's not all there because, again, you know, with this surgery, you're going to be swollen. You know, with this surgery, you're not going to have the results you want to see in 6 months to a year.
But some of them don't know that now. Some of them actually think that when they get up off the table, they're going to look like Ari. Some of them actually think they're going to look like the Jadas. Like in their mind, they're thinking that surgery is going to fix this. Like when I get up, I'm supposed to be snatched because that's what this supposed to do. They don't understand, you know, some of those girls have had multiple surgeries. That's why they're looking that way. Like they don't understand that part, or they don't know that part, or they're not, you know, they're not doing their research to see that part. And you can still do your research and, you know, and still don't know that, but it's not that they, you know, I'm not going to say some of them are vain in a sense, but some of them don't know that they're not going to look like that. Like they'll come in here saying, I want my butt to be bigger. It's like, you just had surgery. You're only a week post, you know, your body is still healing. Your swelling is, you know, you're still swollen. It has to go down. You have to get your massages. We're still pushing fluid out. Like you
know what? I'm going to say they are vain because not for nothing, everybody knows there's complications with surgery. So if you can go under the knife without no type of research, you can type your whatever desired surgery you want that you're going to get into Google, and it's so much information on Google because I was doing it, you know, like, so it's like to not know is because you don't want to know.
Yeah.
And the fact that you are willing to risk your life, then I agree with you. I wouldn't say it's a mental illness per se, but something ain't clicking. Something is wrong. That you're not doing the proper research to make sure you and your body is good before, during, and after surgery. Because we research everything. I don't know about y'all, but if I stub my toe and it look a little weird, I'm going to Google that shit because I need to see some pictures to see what's going on. You know what I mean? So you just not doing no research. Something is seriously wrong. And I think deep down is we know the risk, but to see it and to hear it, now you have to take accountability. A lot of us don't accountability. So we go into something blindsided, it's not going to spark our fear. It's not going to do certain things. And I think that's more so the issue than just saying girls don't know, because if your coochie itching, we Googling that shit.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
Googling it. We Googling everything. If you cheating on a test and you want to know something and you doing homework, you don't know. We're Googling it. So why aren't you Googling the first thing about any surgery? It'll talk about the aftercare. You know what I'm saying?
Like, you got some of them that don't, though. I promise you.
Well, and again, it goes back to
the lipo, the BBLs, that type of the surgeries that's been around for a very long time. It's on Google. It's wherever you. If
they're
you
not Googling it,
of course, but again,
they're not doing it.
But again, if y'all got to think about it like this, because, and this is why I stated the mental health component of it. If I follow Suzette, I watch her on Black Ink Crew. She's my favorite. Her body popping, right? I don't listen to your surgery journey, right? I just see the body. So I don't care. I'm going into the doctor and going, doctor, give me Suzette. I want the Suzette, and they go, I can give that to you. 10K. Here's my 10K.
And it's funny you say that because I had girls contacting me and I made a very public post in the emergency room out here, and no doctor wanted to touch me because I went to Columbia. And I had to tell people, stop asking me who my doctor was, because I'm not going to tell y'all. Something is not going to be happening that's going to be under my referral base. Like, I'm not doing it. Girls didn't care. They was like, girl, but you look good though. Look at you. She did her thing. Who you went to? And I'm just like,
they don't care, girl.
They don't care.
They don't.
They like, think about it. When you pregnant, we Googling shit. Oh, I felt the flutter. What that means? You know what I'm saying? We Googling everything. So I think, especially in today's day and age with technology and social media, because there's social media pages that talk about this. This you can research a doctor on social media now, because there's death memorial pages where girls died. They tell you who the doctor was that she went to after she died. So if you're just really clueless as to what's going on, it's because you want to be clueless. That's just what it is.
Yeah, they want to be, because they feel like they want to be clueless, because they just want to get.
They want to get it done. But that's how I feel about the overseas surgeries a lot of the times. It's because it's significantly cheaper than the U.S. A lot of times that's what it is. And
more fat.
That right. There's not as many, regulations because, again, to your point earlier, Cora, BMIs, right? If I'm a bigger girl, if I'm my size, like I went to a plastic surgery, I'm not gonna lie. First of all, I'm cheap. I went to Groupon. They had a lipo thing. I just wanted to see if they was gonna stay. They was like, "Baby, you're a little too fat for this." But I appreciated the doctor being like, "Your BMI is too high. You wouldn't even get the result you would want if I gave you lipo, because legally I can only take out this much percent." But again, in the Dominican Republic, they're not gonna tell you that. They're gonna say, "Come to the table, mommy, lay down, lay down." Like, and exactly.
People got the highest deaths. It's crazy. But you know what? It's not the country, it's the doctor. Because, and I'm gonna tell you this, they didn't even want to prescribe me pain medicine. I had to come with my own Percocets from my own doctor, because what my doctor told me was, I don't have your medical history. I don't know what you're allergic to. I don't know what you tried in the past and it didn't work. I don't know what you might have a reaction from, and I don't want that on me. What happens is these doctors in Colombia or just in any country, they get greedy. Because you got to think about it. $1 American is 3,500 pesos in Colombia. You understand? So when they're getting American girls that want this surgery, they know that once you go to America, if something happened, oh well.
Yeah, I'm fooling with you.
They're not gonna, like, what you gonna do? Get on a flight and come back for them? That's even what I went through with my doctor. I was like, oh, she lucky I can't get back on the flight because I would go back and see her ass. You know what I'm saying? And that was one of my main reasons why I would never get surgery out the country, because if something go wrong, I want to be able to pull up on my doctor, because they will stop answering their phone, and that's what they just
here too.
A popular doctor just went through that in Colombia, to where they just shut his Instagram page down because a gang of girls got together and was sharing their horror stories, even how he was saying that he was going to do a particular surgery, and when they woke up, it wasn't done. So you're charging girls all this money, and you're not even really doing the surgery. And it got to a point that he's been going through this for so long, because listen, your faves on Instagram, they're getting free surgery to promote the doctor. They're not really promoting his results. Even if he did a shitty job, which one very popular person, the doctor I'm talking about, she went to him and he fucked her all the way up, but she was promoting him. But she can't say that because that's free surgery.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that.
We looking at everything on Instagram because it's it's on Instagram. Oh, our faves did this, our faves did that, and no, it's not right. So I'm not gonna say it's the country, because you have some doctors, they don't play that. Yeah. Get your shit with your doctor. Like me, I had to come in. I couldn't even get on the plane without sending her my blood work prior to getting on the plane for my surgery. And if I did, she was like, listen, we need your blood work by tomorrow or I'm rescheduling your surgery. You know what I'm saying? So it's not, it just really depends on the doctor, and it all boils down to the ethical part of stuff. So if you got, and this is what I told my friend, like if you paying a deposit for a doctor and they're not giving you a pamphlet on what to, she didn't even know what a BMI was. I said, friend, that alarms me that you about to go in surgery and your doctor did not discuss what a BMI was. Like that should have been one of the first conversations before you even paid a deposit. But these girls, and then even watching me go through what I went through, it was like, I had to tell her, I love you, but I don't want to hear about your surgery shit no more, because when shit go wrong, and she finally went to the doctor and was talking about what I was telling her, and he was like, okay, yeah, I would suggest you lose 20 pounds. What? He should have told you that off the fucking get-go.
Right.
But these doctors don't care, because once you're off their table, as long as you make it off the table alive, they're good.
And the check clear, they don't care.
Girls die minutes and days after surgery, though.
Yeah. That's insane, this whole concept. And that's why I really wanted to talk to y'all, because I knew that you would really give good insight on this, because I just see so many girls running to get these surgeries. I know a lot of girls looking out of the country for this, and it's already dangerous. There's always that risk. Cora, I wanted to talk to you because you are the first Black woman to make and manufacture a non-invasive ice that is being used all over the country to help people get these results we're talking about without ever going under the knife. So talk to me about the ice. Talk to me about the services that you provide, that you're giving girls an opportunity to get these looks. Because, hell, I might have to fly to Mississippi. I'm just saying. My BMI is too high to get cut, sis. I just need a little something off the neck and the stomach. What's up?
Oh yeah, absolutely. For that reason, my best friend, one of my good friends, when we were in college, butt injections were very popular. We were looking at me now, you wouldn't think I was that little, but I used to be really little, like 121 pounds back in the day. And so we seen her come back to school, and we were like, now you did not leave summer, you were not looking like that. What did you do? And she ended up telling us, she went and can you hear me?
Yeah.
You went out a little bit.
So she ended up telling us she went and got butt injections, and we were like, how much did it cost? And she literally told us she paid like $3,000 for butt injections. So at that time, we're like, okay, when we get our refund check, we're going to, get these butt injections done. So we actually went. Like, we went, and it was at this lady's house, and I mean, nothing was wrong with the house. It was clean. She had a bunch of girls there, that were about to get it done as well. So I chickened out. Like, I completely chickened out. But my friend did not. So she got it done, and when she came out, she looked so good, and I'm in the car like, man, I should have got this shit done. I'm coming back. I'm gonna come back. But I never went back. I never went back. I never went back. So over the years, Shay still looked good, but still was, feeling like a butt. It still looked good. And I'll say when she got pregnant, she started having just a few issues, a few complications. And then her butt started to kind of drop a little. And so she went to a bunch of different doctors. They did not want to touch it. They pretty much told her, she didn't have any health issues. They did her blood and different things like that. She wasn't feeling sick. For her, it was more of the cosmetic part, the look of it, the physical appearance. And she's like, now she has to wear, for her butt to just sit up, she has to wear like the little panty girdle thing with like the little cutout. So it's certain stuff she can't even wear because it'll show the cutout. But she wears a thigh high now to kind of hold everything together. But yeah, that's my story. So that would kind of made me go into.
Tell her to go get an MRI done.
Oh, she clicked out.
Because that's how mine was too. And that was something when I went for my in-person consultation, that was something that she pointed out. And like every girl that's done these silicone injections has to get it out, because eventually it's going to start messing. At the 10-year mark, it starts affecting your bodily.
And I told her, we actually was just talking about that after we got off that live that day. I called her and had a whole conversation with Shay, just checking on her and different things like that. But it was definitely one of those things where I was like, thank you, God, I followed my first mind, because normally whatever, back in the day, I'm game for it. I'm like, okay, she was fine. She was fine. We gonna be fine. We get back to school too. But that didn't happen. Well, it happened for my friend, but then over the years, it kind of gave her the little cosmetic era. But as far as me in the non-invasive world, it can work. You definitely can receive lipo-like results without going under the knife. It's a little bit more intense. There are a lot more things you have to do, changing your eating habits, making sure you're drinking plenty of water, exercising, and wearing a compression garment as well. It's a little bit of a slower process, but it's a safer option before you go under the knife. It even can help you get your BMI lower if you do, decide that is something that you wanted to do, go under the knife. But as far as the ice, I always tell people, before you go under that knife, please come try the ice.
That's a fire slogan, though.
It can really, really, really help. We have gotten some really, really, really great results from girls who have never been under like the knife, never had anything done, and just kind of followed the steps that we told them, and they have gotten some amazing results. We even have, we do all body types. If you ever take a look at my social media, it doesn't matter how big or small you are. Like, we do all body types. We had one lady, she can afford to go under the knife. Like, it's not a, money issue for her. It's pretty much like a health issue that she can't, go under. And I was her last option before she was about to go to Colombia. Just go over there to get it done. And I think I actually posted her on my page. And she just started coming and working out and different things like that. And she started to look amazing. So it can work. Yeah, I did create it. We have like 400 and some spas that use the product across the country. Yeah.
That's so amazing.
We created like two millionaires during a pandemic and a bunch of six-figure spas. Yep.
Yes, we love to see it. Like I said, if I come down to Mississippi, just get a little,
They have the non-invasive for that. It's called the Kimbella or something like that.
Yep, and they do. They do.
Yeah.
You don't want to get it?
What is that? What is that? No, I'm interested. I just don't know.
It's like the fillers and stuff, and they,
Oh wait,
we gotta talk, girl, because I did a little bit too, because when I gained.
I'm scared. Wait, not with
no, it's not bad.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not bad at all.
We're gonna talk online, because child, if I could just get I'm tired of the shade room comments talking about my neck. But yes,
it's hereditary over here. So
anytime I go viral on an interview, that's the first thing they talk about is my neck. When people start saying viral stuff, I'm gonna just be like this. Mm-hmm.
I hate the internet.
No, listen, I'm all good either way. But listen, ladies, I don't want to hold you. I know you're both very busy. Suzette, tell everybody where they can follow you. We're expecting a new season of Black Ink Crew New York coming up, right?
Yes, and my journey is actually on that season. So y'all gonna see how it affected my relationship, how it affected my businesses. I believe it's because we're almost done filming now. So I want to say December, January, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. So coming up soon. And Cora, what you got going on? Because I see you out there having all types of events, and so what you got going on?
Well, right now, I'm getting into this. Well, I have a recovery home, so it's doing really well. I'm getting into this. I sculpt bodies. I tell people all the time, I sculpt bodies. That's my lane, and I kind of stick in that lane. But I'm getting into the trucking world right now with my husband as like a trucking company. So I'm actually about to do something that's called Christian Screening and Logistics. So it'll help like trucking companies stay in DOT compliance. If you need a drug test, because they do have to get drug tested, you can come see me as well for that.
Okay, I love it. I love the expansion. I love the fact that you're doing financial literacy. I watched an interview you did maybe like a couple months ago, and just listening, and you spit the knowledge about credit, financial literacy, how you're building wealth for your children. It's amazing. So congratulations to both ladies on all your success. I thank you so much for coming to the Lemonade Stand and getting us all the way together and telling people the truth, because that's what people need to hear. You make your own decisions, but just know what you're about to get into when you make those decisions. So thank you, ladies, so much.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Lemonade Stand, grab a cup, throw it back, and sip on all of that.
Hey, everybody. This is Suzette from Black Ink Crew, and I am rocking with Leah's Lemonade.